Fear Factor pushed the boundaries of what we'd accept on our TV screens with some wild stunts that would strike fear in just about anyone good-looking enough to get on the show. Let's take a look at some of the strangest rules that contestants had to follow in order to get their 15 minutes of Fear Factor fame. For one thing, the show made a point of literally adding insult to injury. Turns out, being forced to overcome your biggest fear, eat pig rectums or both, wasn't enough for American TV audiences. So Fear Factor contestants had to be okay with also being mocked to their faces while they suffered through their tasks. Fear Factor's original host Joe Rogan is a comedian after all, and so it was only natural that he would get some wisecracks in. And the wannabe models and actors debasing themselves for America gladly took the abuse. After all, they had the chance of winning a veteran teacher's annual salary in one afternoon. Contestants also had to be okay with possibly being stripped naked, and some challenges even involved physical torture, including simulated drowning and getting briefly buried alive. They also had to sign liability waivers so the network wouldn't get sued, and non-disclosure agreements so they wouldn't spill the beans when they got home before their episode aired. But there are two little-known Fear Factor rules that are some real head-scratchers. Contestants on the 2017 MTV reboot of Fear Factor had to comply with something we tend to take for granted about television production. We all assume that if a TV show wants you to come to LA for filming, the studio foots the bill. But MTV was trying to revive the show as cheaply as possible. It forced the contestants to pay their own way out to the City of Angels. The online application called for contestants who were in the greater Los Angeles area or can get here. So good luck trying to pay your airfare with a pocket full of maggots if you don't win. You really expected MTV would pay for your hotel while you were in town to eat marshmallows in a fish tank filled with flies? But perhaps the weirdest Fear Factor rule was forbidding contestants from running for public office for at least a year after their episode aired. That's right. A clause in the Fear Factor casting agreement stipulated that candidates for public office were ineligible to compete on the show, and selected cast members could not run for office for at least one calendar year after their appearance. It turns out that isn't an uncommon rule for a reality series. Other shows, including The Price is Right, have this stipulation in its contracts for contestants. Why? Most likely, this was to prevent NBC Universal, MTV, or the Fear Factor producers from seeming biased toward a particular candidate or issue. Networks must give equal time to all candidates running for political office, so restricting reality TV contestants helps them avoid liability, as well as the obligation to then give the same screen time to other candidates.